You got any thoughts that are good? I could add a little front. Or something, I don't know, I made is it fun?
Yeah.
That's pretty
It's like, it's there.
good, is it just?
Yeah. More than a little bit of. Yeah, I know. And so this is just the second phone, this was the most phone. You still get the warm.
That's a real deal.
I love it, you can even pull things down or in front of the hill, don't.
I would say it's one.
I know that.
Whoa.
Or,
Sounds really good.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know why I don't think about doing it today before, like, I can show her I can more. I'm like,
I actually left all the stuff on last night because sometimes it takes a minute to get it going.
in the morning,
It
yeah.
stressed me out. So, you've been to the Grand Canyon or anywhere down
No. It's my favorite family photo. I haven't done anything really cool. I have like a sweatshirt my grandma will read back for me.
Yeah. He's taking the Hoffman. Yeah. It is right there. Where's Jamie been? When, like,
This last couple of days, I was like, I have a cord over, it's like, showed up in, I think it was last year, cord. Like some kind of like audio course.
Oh,
I didn't look at it, but it's got a name on it.
she's home.
Okay.
We've been pretty busy at the B and B this last week.
Okay.
Did you have check?
Yeah.
Good, at beat Palmer still. What's that? At beat Palmer. Yeah.
I wanted to crash.
I don't remember when the mother comes on, actually goes. I love you. So these guys, all I got is like ball here.
Good morning, good morning. How are you?
I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Been ringing in the new year, pretty busy, huh? How's the south side of town treating you this morning?
Shady. The days are getting longer, so that's what they tell me. There's hoping, there's hoping so. Like a telescope guy, I can see the sunlight. You get about 2 hours. It is dark out. Yeah.
Hello. How's everybody? Just excited to be here.
Well, really? Looking a little less dapper than I saw you, but you're still a great, so great. How was it to you?
It was good.
He's one of those guys who looks down no matter what he's.
You should have seen him this weekend, no, you should have seen the day.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't question you, but at the end.
Why, thank you.
Well, thank you. I didn't crank that back, how's that?
Imagine just killing more trees, huh?
I killed my tree.
Oh. Yeah. We see you.
Chart house, did she ever work at a chart house?
Morning, guys. Sorry I have to be here, but my kids are still on break, and so someone has to keep them alive. So it's a full-time job.
Don't you have a husband that does it?
Don't you have a full-time?
He's got to deal with restaurant stuff.
Oh, sure.
That's why it was a last minute change. I emailed you guys last night. Sorry.
Okay. Was it notarized?
No, definitely not.
It needs to be official.
Oh, you still need to move that bookcase or whatever?
Amanda.
Sorry, I'm making my coffee. No, I got it, but thank you.
Sure.
You're good, no worries.
We're just here to help you, honestly. No call, Kevin?
Yeah. I don't know, Mike, we're gonna have to swear you in and make you part of this so that we can have a quorum and get down to business.
Why is Gary not showing?
Pardon?
Why is Gary not showing?
I was a surprise.
Gary's are all.
Oh, no, that's right, we have Amanda, so we do have it.
You know, that's not a bad point. Maybe an alternate that
We're
you
not
just-
gonna have a.
All right, would you be interested in participating on this, on a real basis?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've been trying to go here just to show up, see how many of these I can make it, you know?
Yeah.
You do better than me. Am I sitting in chemistry?
No. I don't think there are.
I'm also afraid it's like I sat down, like, that's just trash or something.
Nobody else there is. Oh, okay, well, I do you, so.
No, you're good. You're good, just to keep all shit, so. Protection.
They can't sit next to each.
Sorry.
Well,
Six.
Maria from my lovely self said she might make it.
Okay.
She did a lot of things.
Broncos. Let's hot off the press.
Yes, I see.
I know, they didn't go front that, it made me sad. I killed a few trees today,
Well, this way we can use the backside for stretching.
which I do that.
So, you know, all it takes, sir, if you'd like to join us officially is a short email to our town clerk
Okay,
I have a number.
that can be directed to the Board of Selectmen that says, I'd like to be on the Business Promotions Commission. And it could happen.
Maybe you guys, maybe we make an amendment to the agenda and you guys can make a recommendation to the BOS.
I mean, obviously, like, the only thing to consider is I don't have a business here.
But you care about.
You don't have
So I know, but like, I don't think so we have enough business owners, if we have, like, we like.
But we're allowed by ordinance to, I think, that do not have to be, yeah.
Hey, you guys, it's not ideal, but if you need me to hustle down there really fast and I can get my mom to come over, Ryan hasn't left yet. And my kids are still technically asleep.
Are you
If you-
looking for an excuse?
Do you
No,
want to leave?
not-
your home?
No, I'm asking. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal if I was remote today, but if we don't have a quorum or anyone
No,
to.
we do, we do.
With you, we've got a quorum, and with you, we have our vice chair, so
But I mean, do you need me to come so I can run it in person? Wouldn't that be better?
you can run it from right there.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
You can get started and Kevin shows up, we can pick it up.
Work from home is acceptable now.
I mean, if you guys are okay with me running it from here, I will. Otherwise, I'm happy to, if you guys want to put a 30-second or 3-minute pin in it, I can run down, but
No, we're good.
okay. All right, well, let me pull the agenda.
so we're gonna shave 3 minutes off the end and be done early.
Sorry, I didn't know that it was gonna be like that, or I would have made more arrangements last night, but this was last minute.
You made great arrangements.
Stop sweating.
Okay, well, let me get the agenda up. Should I start?
Sure,
Yeah.
Okay.
lock and load.
It is 8:03 a.m. on Wednesday, January 3rd, and I call this meeting of the Georgetown Business Promotions Commission to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Justin Dowd,
Here,
Greg Abrahamson,
here.
Mary Smith,
Here,
Amanda Cooper.
Here.
And that is all of our members today.
Okay. Is there gonna be an amendment to the agenda, friends?
sure, let's
Okay,
make
do you
that.
make that motion?
So we'll amend the agenda to add a discussion about
An additional,
an additional alternate member or. Yeah.
well, let's just say an additional member at this point, and then we can figure out the alternate piece.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So it'd be number 6, wait. 9, no, let's do, we do it as 6?
Well, we probably won't get
Sure, let's add it as 6, and that gives him more time to get back.
6, okay. Okay.
I think
Can
it would be an alternate member.
can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda is approved. Is there any audience business? Besides the guy who's getting roped into promotions?
That's what happens when you show up too often.
No, right? Okay, perfect. Any new business owner, manager? Anything on the horizon for this 2024 that we need to welcome?
No, because we already did the bistro, didn't
Yeah,
Most stuff is waiting.
maybe next month there'll be one.
we? Okay, got something on the horizon there, Craig?
I hope so too. There's a lot of key things in there.
All
Okay.
right, then let's jump right into Christmas market debrief. That's probably sounds like Mary Smith, so take it away.
No, I just asked to put this on just in case there's anything light and fluffy that anybody wants to share from the town's perspective. Not to go through it detail by detail, but anything?
I think it's worth noting, and so we can consider it for this year. I believe our media exposure made a huge impact, in particular on that second weekend. And obviously replicating it, very specifically like it was, is gonna be difficult to do, but it's something that we should talk about as we approach it, maybe in the late summer or fall. How do we, or can we, do we have the bandwidth to the capacity to the money to, make sure that we've got at least a local Denver market media plan beyond just social media? And the typical, and I mean, we as in the town, that's not something that should be put on HDI, that should be something we should be discussing, and how we more actively support the marketing component of that, because that was, I've lived here my whole life and been to a lot of Christmas markets wearing little white robes and the whole 9 yards, and that was probably the busiest second full week, the whole weekend, not just Saturday, but Saturday to Sunday that I've ever seen. I mean, it was popping.
You're talking news media though, not
Yes,
just because,
I
yeah,
am talking news media or it's something on the telly. Because I really think that made a
I'm so
huge
glad I
difference.
didn't.
So I don't think we should lose sight of that.
Okay,
I hope to, by at least summer, have a more expanded media list, so we can definitely reach out more. When I was speaking with Westford and 5280 these past weeks, I kind of brought up the idea of not just paid advertising, like how can we get more organic? Can they come up here? Can they do an article? Things like that. So it's definitely possible. I just wanna note that we do from town a donation for HGI for their marketing, but we can definitely help out a lot more with that. Maybe not financially, but with my role.
I think too, if we can take whatever the official logo is from the Today Show, 9 News, and start to incorporate that into, as featured on, even since we made it 2023, I think we can ride those
Yeah.
coattails at least for another year or two. And if we can be dropping that logo into maybe everything, I mean, we can still be the merriest Main Street in the summertime. It's, it's gonna take a different connotation, but,
Yeah,
so,
that's a good idea.
so if you can provide that to whatever
Yeah.
we're doing, town, anything, so.
Well, especially if, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it yet, but if HGI wants to go forward with their summer plans, I think that will help exposure too.
Oh, yeah, we'll use that, so,
Yeah, I'll keep those others in mind.
okay. Anything else? Did you hear from your guests or anything? I know last year you had brought up that they wanted more, and I don't think we really provided necessarily more this year as far as aftermarket activities.
Heard nothing but positive reviews. Yeah, everyone was, very enthusiastic at the breakfast table,
Okay,
this year, yeah.
cool.
What is more? Like more, you said after activities?
Well, so-
or-
Well, so last year Justin just made a comment. I mean,
Yeah.
you speak to it from your guest standpoint.
Just larger, basically, more in the sense of, maybe expansion of something, like the additional spaces that have been popped up have been great. Just taking into account over, the last several years, there was a theme where people loved it, but they were like, we could walk through it,
Is that it?
in half an hour and be like, okay, this is great, but, we'd like to see something bigger.
Yeah, one of my things that I always know is when you hear market, it's just a place to walk and spend money.
Yeah,
So like, if we could, more winter activities kind of around.
yeah,
I don't know if the ice rink can ever be open in time, but like little park games or something, like, I just try to think brainstorming, but I'll write that down and we can brainstorm.
yeah. along the same lines, like same, you know, same direction, same, goal, and everything, but just,
Sled dog races.
Yeah.
Snowball.
That sled dog
Go from one
races
block to
used to
one block.
happen.
I thought I
Yeah.
saw that they did.
Yeah, and so you can shed some light on that because you've been around.
There was no snow in any of the pictures I saw.
They were very, that did not happen for very long. That was, I think that was logistically, and I wasn't actively involved with it, but logistically, I think that was incredibly difficult to pull off. Not impossible, just difficult. And listen, I'm always up for a challenge, but I do like the notion of other things. Here's one thing that I really appreciate, and this again comes from somebody having been part of this for a long time. I appreciate that HDI has opened their minds to allowing for more ancillary activities and vendors around the core that is the traditional, you know, open air, European open air Christmas market, because for a long time we were just so religious about that we couldn't really, we wouldn't even talk, I mean, you know, that tent has exploding, like, it would have been tough. So I think that openness about that on HGI's part has been key and will continue to be key in terms of growing this and creating more activities for the visitors. We also have to keep in mind that we have 77 more hotel rooms in this town than we did 5 years ago. And it would impact, you know, everybody's guests if we could create a little bit more activity downtown in the evening. Some more organized kind of things, and part of that would be providing like shuttle services and stuff from the hotel to bring people downtown as part of those. So that might just be something we talk about. Because those, I mean, there's between 150 and 250 people out there, that would probably, you know, a portion of them would partake if they knew they didn't have to walk down here, drive down here, right? If we're like, hey, listen, we're running the shuttle till 8 or 9 o'clock, right?
And then we roll up the sidewalks.
And then we roll up the sidewalks, and then we'll drive you down to Mother's or Tom Hunter's or, you know, whatever, I'm just. But just, that's just something to consider in terms of continuing the theme of more, right? More activities and stuff, not that it's not already fantastic.
yeah, just, we love it, we want.
If we want more of it.
Yeah. And I think there's opportunity for, you know, businesses to, you know, have more customers, keep them longer and more money to be spent.
The other comment is not just the vendors, but a lot of our businesses in town have record-breaking sales, which I like to hear.
Yeah, no, and we've heard that, you know, throughout, so that was good, so. Okay,
I don't.
just
Yeah, well done.
wanted to,
And
Get
I,
some-
for one, I told Mary this, and I think it behooves all of us to keep this in mind. What Robert and Mary Smith do personally on those 2 weekends is a Herculean effort. And I, for one, am making a personal commitment. I told Mary this, I'm gonna be their guy next year. I mean, you need somebody to do a patch.
I always wanted to laugh.
I'm not
You
just
get
gonna
what's
do
on
this,
his card,
you know, I'm not just gonna pop in. I want to be part of their team and anybody who can create some time, even one day. It doesn't even have to be one of those Christmas market days, it could be a day before or something like that.
You were very helpful though, so thank you so much, all the little
I think
things that
we all
came up.
benefit from it, and we should all be contributing back to it,
So,
even if it's a few hours.
well, thanks, I wasn't asking for kudos.
I could not hear.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I couldn't hear. Pardon?
Was that spring?
No, it was just, it's the.
Echoing.
It's not a big deal. I just had to make some quick arrangements, and I apologize if I'd known, I would have done that last night.
Well, I know the school has already reached out for to make sure that they're aware of the dates for 2024 for the Santa Lucia Singers, so.
Who, I'm sorry.
No, Leslie, I was just
Oh, okay.
trying to sit down, she was just confirming the dates, so,
I think I only missed about 3 minutes. so.
yeah, no, that's fine, and I wasn't looking for
You're being
kudos on any of that, I just wanted to see if there was anything that, you know, that we need to address as a town, I mean, you know, that. Because it's a planning, it's a year-long planning thing, we know that, you know, and I think we need to put our heads together again early like we did this
Yeah.
past year in
It should.
June, or, you know, but even earlier than that, just to make sure that it's all smooth running, so,
It should.
okay,
Road
thanks.
closures go okay, anything like that to go over from town side? The restrooms, I will know, I think it might be better off to get porta potties next year. I know they don't look great, but even just sticking them in a parking lot behind the tent, it was very chaotic, whether it was at Strauss Park or town.
Okay,
It's a great observation. One thing that irritates people to no end is having to stand in line to pee. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if I do porta potties.
I,
Also, potty training.
You do what, we can do the nice porta potties.
standing out there freezing. Yeah, then the only other, the road closures were fine. I think we finally are in sync with the shuttle bus and the route and everything. Couple of things that we've noticed, I'll step on my HGI's piece side. I'm really gonna beg, borrow and whatever the town to get a more permanent sign at the roundabout. And I wasn't involved in all as to why we don't put signs in the roundabout, but that direct people for the parking and where the market is. Because the signs that we continue to put up there get blown over, shocking, every year, you know, so there needs to be, and I think with more events, it doesn't have to say Christmas market parking, Christmas market shuttle, it's, you know, event parking, but there has to be something clearly there, as people are coming in because they're looking all over the place, you know, to help with that direction. The other thing is, you know, the last couple of years, we've tried to put a dent into, you know, passing out the printed information to people as they were coming in, and I think that's helpful, but for some reason, the map on there has always been more concentrating on the shuttle and the routes, and who cares, where we really need like a topo map that just has, you know, the key locations. And, you know, so we're gonna work on that a little bit earlier and have that out sooner, and then, and it'll just be more beneficial. And then again, I think, I hate to say printed signs, but some directional signage, temporary, obviously, when someone's here, so that they know, because for some reason, you know, to still get down to that extra block at Tower Street to find the tent, and then they're glad they did, you know, or down to where we had Christmas Alley next door, you know, okay then, so something more user-friendly for the person who's on Sixth Street, who can't see around the corners. But,
more this way, something
Yeah.
like that, okay.
Is something like that included in the wayfinding signage?
maybe with the parking and the event, you know, because
Yeah.
99% of our events happen down this way, and our parking.
A sign that could be modified over the year, you can slide in different.
Sure.
Yeah.
colors for different events.
Yeah, I think that would, so, all right, well, thanks for that little bit of feedback.
Electricity.
Let's put lights on. What? Open this way.
Definitely colored one.
Yeah, so,
All right, moving on to, are we good with, Christmas market debrief?
sure.
Awesome. Hops and Holly, Craig, do you wanna start that one?
Sure. First, thanks to everybody, Jen, the whole nine yards who helped us, you know, figure out how to permit that thing and execute it and everything. I was gonna be happy enough if it was me and 20 people in there listening to good music for 9 hours, and it turned out much better than that.
Phenomenal.
So,
More, like double.
yeah, I think we sold a little over 200 total event admissions. And then we also did the ad hoc, if you didn't want a full event admission, you could just buy lights and stuff like that, so you didn't have to have a ticket to come in the tent, listen to music and stuff like that. I mean, I've got a whole list of minor things that we'll do next year, but overall, the brewers were incredibly happy. They all had a great time. They were thrilled with the turnout. They loved the intimacy of the event. You know, it wasn't your typical, you know, there's 70 breweries there, and, you know, I've already booked the music for next year. We're gonna add a second act, a second band.
So you're just planning on keeping it to Saturday though, right? Especially
I haven't
for,
even gotten that far yet.
okay,
Right now, you know, definitely one day, we'll see, the 2-day thing. I still like the idea of making one day really pop, as opposed to.
Oh, yeah.
One comment that came through, loud and clear that day, and loud and clear the previous 4 days Christmas market is if we can have and obviously not today, but we really should have a conversation around open container on Sixth Street.
That's coming up later on the agenda.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But that really, in a very non-invasive way, I think, would elevate both of those events and make them more social, if you will, than me following my better half around just looking for Christmas presents. And so, but that was a comment we heard throughout Christmas market as well as the beer festival. There's nothing dramatic that I would do different except have more people that help me the day after.
Oh, so that's why you wanna help Robert and I, the two previous.
Yeah.
I get it, okay, now it all makes sense, got it.
It was fine when I had a week to get ready for it, and then I was taking down a week's worth of stuff in one day, and I'm still on that. So, but anyway, thank you for everybody's support then.
And it'll be easier next year now that we know how to do it.
That's right.
thing I know I told you is like, if you guys could source a couple of like retail vendors, like something.
We could definitely do that.
So we talked about that a little bit too already, maybe even expanding and using Strauss Park,
Definitely.
like more beer centric or beer fest style stuff, not really Christmas market. I mean, you're gonna want a certain theme going too, so.
Yeah, yes and no. Well, so you're looking at me, and talking to me, but that is one thing, as we plan for it, I really would. I'd like it to, obviously, we'll continue to be the sponsor but, I'd really like it to become much more like Christmas market insofar as it's just a community event. And it so happens that there's one outfit who's taking on most of the legwork and paying most of the bills and stuff like that. But it'd be great if we could broaden it to a wider community event. I don't know that we have to have beer-centric vendors in Strauss Park. But.
I do have a guy that does beer soap though.
Right, but see, no, but a different set of vendors in Strauss Park actually helps enhance.
Exactly.
Just, I think telling people, hey, listen, you can come back next week and there's gonna be a different group of vendors down here, and we're having a beer festival, live music, blah, blah, blah. Then people are like, oh my gosh, maybe we should come back to Thursday next weekend too, or, the folks from Evergreen, oh gosh, we can't do the Christmas park those 2 weekends, but.
Yeah,
You could, instead of having a beer thing, you could have a community thing, so only vendors within Clear Creek County. Cause you kind of tried to stick us out with your beer, stick to more local.
Well, here's the tough part, is it's a busy weekend for Clear Creek County vendors to begin with. That weekend, everybody's getting ready for. So I agree, and I'm certainly reaching out to them first and foremost, is absolutely always a priority for me, but, yeah.
Just options, cause your hardware people, they came from Evergreen.
oh yeah, the recycle people.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
there's like Sunshine Bakery, maybe they could have a booth, it's just an idea, But I can see.
But I'd like to hear from you guys, like, any observations or,
I think we talked about it day of, but maybe increasing the ticket to include the non-beer people. Was that a conversation we had?
I mean-
Started, I didn't know.
What I sold the most of, honestly, was mimosas.
Interesting.
That was what I blew through more than anything else I came in with. And the jello shots, but that was later in the day. That was when everyone got real classy.
But that
Brunch is in the morning.
That was a good, I think that was a good angle though to have, especially
It
at that.
was,
Yeah,
but like the 2 batch cocktails I did, especially the whiskey one that I thought would do really well, I came back with
a
a
lot,
lot of whiskey.
yeah.
And there was the component of people not having the option to use the ticket, which was not catastrophic. Some people, it mattered more to some attendees than others. There were some attendees that felt that they weren't getting their bang for their buck, I guess, but I feel like if.
For the 35 bucks.
I know, I'm not,
We don't stand for it. That's all they were getting from the beer tents.
but see, the problem, I was doing full splits, so so it wasn't, I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, we should brainstorm on how to pull that off and incorporate that. Physical layout is something I do want to work on.
There's also the possibility that next year, I mean, if I end up doing it as a, and obviously this is my vendor hat, not my BPC hat. If I did it as a vendor, I would go it differently. Or another brewery could carry that burden easily without it being a big deal. Cause if you're just doing mimosas, like I'll make the Jello shots and you can buy them off me. Seriously. But there's things, it was super cool and I thought it went really well and I was really happy to be a part of it as a vendor, so.
No, but those are great takeaways, especially if we have somebody new and they experience that, how can we help elevate it? Or if HDI wants to make their sales for one sale.
I don't think, did you guys sell any?
Yeah, we sold a couple $100 worth. I mean, it wasn't killer or anything. I didn't get a lot of feedback from, but
I think you're sick.
that was more exhaustion on my part and being done.
Well, and it was also a Hamel House, I mean.
Well, yeah, no, we had, and we're gonna still run into that same situation, you know, with the simultaneous events, so that's just something that we need to manage. Did you have any issues with, because I know we specified how we were managing, you know, liquor and the 21 and everything in the tent, out of the tent, and we had it all roped off, and, you know, that part outside seemed fine. Did your ticket sales people give you any indication of any issues? I just noticed walking in, I wasn't gonna stand there in line, knowing that I wasn't going to buy a ticket, because I'm sorry, I don't drink beer. And just kind of standing there, not, you know, wondering, well, am I supposed to get banded? Am I not supposed to get banded? And then I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm just walking around, you know, where I didn't want to, you know.
So we've talked about, we need to staff it at the door differently next year. And part of it is the physical door too. I think we probably need to put the ticketing stuff right outside the door. There's a little bit more room to queue, out there for people and have somebody
We could do
separate.
another little mini tent out there.
Yeah.
Or-
It looks something like that, but we need to staff that differently at the door.
But did you notice anything like inside once the people, you know, did any of your vendors, did any of your guests go up to a vendor and say, oh, I bought a ticket, but they didn't realize that they should have had the glass, you know, that kind of?
No.
Okay,
Not that I've heard
okay.
from anybody.
Good.
We've sent out a questionnaire to all of our vendors, to give us feedback. Good and bad of the event, so I'll let you guys know and I'll share that with you.
Cool, Joe.
I have a question about the food vendors and the other vendors and how we didn't really know much about it or anything. And I don't know about, and I'm gonna speak for Mary, but I don't know about the sales tax reporting. But I just was kind of unsure of how that worked.
There was a.
Because
the noodle
most of the time they need to pay the
company from
town. What? I'm sorry.
The noodle company from Georgia, they didn't get a Colorado sales tax, so they sold out, but they don't have anything to report to the state.
My question is, should we have been issuing them a mobile food or a vendor license? That's my question. Because we didn't do any of that.
I think that's something that we, the town, needs to look at with the expanded events that we're having, because it's a very gray area. And I mean, I could even see that from the standpoint of Christmas market, because it's been in Strauss Park for all these years, you know, wham. And the operation has been under that assumption of what happens with Strauss Park and what's waived and different fees involved. And then when we bumped it out to the tent last year and then even expanded it more this year, there's, you know, even though there's the follow-up from our part with HGI or special events with the town, we're we need to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as that licensing
Yeah,
thing
maybe we
goes.
just talk about it before the event, so we're not like,
One thing I would say, just on a separate note, and this is, I think maybe we should put this on a future agenda, is I think that when we wrote the mobile food ordinance, it's so, and I take responsibility because I was part of the person that, or part of the team that wrote that. It's so clumsy, it's
Yeah.
so awkward. It was written because we had a bunch of people super worked up and people were not looking at the grand scheme, and I think that we need to revisit that.
that and the temporary use permit.
They're both really.
They're so,
poorly-
yeah, it's really,
I
I agree.
don't think it's hard to have discussions like this because of how poorly those ordinances are written.
Yeah,
Well,
they need
and I
to
think,
expand it
And
too.
again, I take responsibility, I was part of the team that did the mobile food service, but.
I think it's always valuable to reflect on our codes and ordinances and procedures and stuff. This is the first time hearing about they're not, I mean.
Sarah took my
I
sales
know that,
tax.
I do know that there were regular meetings and regular conversations about the documentation and paperwork that each vendor was going to have to fill out, undertake, submit, and.
Sarah,
And I didn't hear that anyone didn't do that until right,
did they,
Well, so,
so.
I'm confused on if they paid the fee, because that's kind of my part where I would issue them the license.
me and
And I
Mary
didn't
supposed
do
to go
that.
back over, I need to circle back with her, because I tried to, and I got most of the people to pay for me, there was one person who I needed to call back, but none of them actually went through. So I don't know if it was, this computer was being wonky and it liked me, or what, cause I'm not taking payment on my personal
So
laptop.
you were charging for a vendor?
The 25,
license?
yeah.
Okay, cause I didn't, yeah, normally I would make a permit.
Yeah,
Or a
like
license.
for a main app or something, we did that for Bighorn. Sarah and I were discussing that up until the event, she's fully aware, she and I were talking to the vendor, there, I think there was a miscommunication because he was, and I were trying to talk about. He needs to get a sales tax license so he can be a vendor here, and he thought I was gonna call him to talk about state, and that wasn't the case. But Sarah was on him too, from her understanding about that, but he wants to come back for lawn hockey. So, he's still able to file, I mean, you can file day out from my understanding, but he should be able to file, reconcile, and then be okay. Which is, we're on the yellow line with that.
Well, he needs to really move on that because
Yeah,
I can say we have fought long and hard
Yeah.
to have that process work well and to make sure that the town is getting what's due, you know, from the outside vendors. And,
After this meeting, maybe let's
Yeah.
go talk with Mary,
And Mary's gonna come up for the budget,
Okay,
so.
okay,
Is
super.
there a, here you go. Is there a one page, here you go, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step
Pretty much,
5?
Yeah.
but
I would say, yeah.
we need to smooth out the process though, and that's why I say now, I think now that we as the town have seen what our event marketing person can do over the last couple of years. I mean, we've just expanded this whole opportunity. We need to get our shit together here and just, you know.
I mean, that's a great idea.
Roll it out
Be
better.
able to create something to give to a vendor, so they're not, so they totally are like.
I know I would struggle and I live 2 blocks from here.
I'm
So,
gonna, if
not
they
because
could,
anybody's not.
Yeah, let's-
and we've gotta move through the
Detail
rest of
that
the
later.
agenda, so,
Right.
we're gonna say after the meeting that we'll talk about that, and then we'll maybe put on for another meeting down the road here to review those opportunities. Jess, take it away, marketing and events.
yes, so as you can see, I did some holiday recap. The only other thing that I wanted to note was on my end of things, I would like to get Road and Bridge a little bit more involved in their street closures. Just to confirm that they've seen it and have, maybe not their approval, but just sign off. I experienced some back and forth, some miscommunication, and I just wanted to involve that in the bud. Other than that, going into our Christmas tree program, this was my first year with it, so we've learned a lot. My biggest takeaway is that I would love to be more involved, whether that's having stronger signage, permanent signage up in the area that says, hey, stop, look around, you can find a tree in this area, or keep going, there's more trees higher. Or, and then including asking if I can get a hold of the indicator tags, because a lot of people just weren't able to find it, things weren't very clear. Overall, we raised $3,630, which will be going to the BPC fund. Whether that's actually extra or something we just put into our budget, there's other things going on. But I think there's a lot of opportunities here, whether we do better advertising for it, whether we look into having like cute little influencers. We had a fourth grader come, there's that program where they can collect a tree with a little voucher. There's a lot of things that we can do to build it, and if it's not gonna be Georgetown and the fire department, you know, how can we just elevate it and make it an experience, more than just saying, come here, go to the Shop International, make it your destination every year. I really wanna clear through some of the struggles that we had. One of my bigger takeaways that I'm learning just kind of throughout these conversations is follow-up emails. Whether people got the application and they paid for their tree, they kind of wanted more confirmation. It's not necessarily wanting me to hold their hand, but it's a lot of questions of where do I go? Am I approved? We have certain dates estimated. It's just in case a lot of people are going out and we need to have staff. And that's something else we'll try to have a tighter rope on, is working with the high school, since we did raise so much money, especially with limited-ish advertising. I think we can raise a lot more and do partial donations to those organizations and groups with the school that help out. So like if the chess club or the football team wanna, you know, lug some trees out of the forest, please come help me.
I think we need to buy you a chainsaw.
I was fine out there without the chain,
I'm serious.
but
She was out there with the
it was
cutting
There's a
20, 30 trees down to.
And then dragging them.
You want to.
Yeah,
I thought.
don't say no to chainsaw.
Don't
Never say no to chainsaw. Sorry. That's only on the face.
Yeah, sounds like it better.
$3,630, I will find the nicest chainsaw.
Buy a good one for a couple $100, especially the small trees that we're trying to take down anyway, you know, so.
Great kindling. Moving right along to our social media updates. We had a lot of growth, so looking at our Instagram, we bumped up 315 followers, we're pushed over the 1,186 at the beginning of the year.
Remember, for anyone who's just catching up, that our previous account was compromised, so this account had to be built from scratch.
Yes, we were at 280 when I started in May. So it's kind of nice to see the growth, see the engagement start to pick up. So for our Instagram, you know, if we're only having 1,000 something followers, we're reaching over 3,500, which is a lot. I think part of that is thanks to our influencers, thanks to the Today Show, and it's just for overall Georgetown. There's so much charm in this town. You put a picture on Facebook that you forget to edit out the tire marks, and all of a sudden there's 20,000 likes, and only you're staring at the tire marks. But, roughly of that, only 443 are our actual followers, which means more than double of that are non-followers engaging in our content, which is really nice. Most of the cities were coming through on our Instagram are Denver, Colorado Springs, Silver Plum, and Lakewood. So Georgetown's not even on there, which isn't too surprising. The only difference is that Lakewood lowered and Silver Plum is now in the mix, so it's kind of nice to be a little more local. Our age range is still gonna be that 35 to 40, going down to 25 to 30, and then 45 to 50. It's just people. Heavier in the women, a lot heavier in women, but that's just Instagram's demographic anyway. It's a little nicer when you're going from 79 to 20. I wanna say it's roughly about 73% are women on Instagram and the rest are men. And that's just, you know, outdated gender stereotypes, don't come at me. So it's nice to see that we're getting the return there versus Facebook. Our Facebook reach has been up to 25 million or 2.5 million. That was kind of crazy and impressive, and I really like to see our Facebook likes go up. We almost have 2,000 new likes. Facebook followers also increased almost 2,000. We're sticking with the Denver, Colorado Springs, Georgetown's in there, and then Lakewood also popped up. overall, I'll just say that we saw so much growth within our platform, whether we're switching things up and aligning with our target audience, which is an older audience in Facebook, and they're more carousel, still images versus Instagram, it's more of a younger audience, reels with more trending audio, all those things, plus our TikTok, it's very infant growth, we've got less than 70 followers, but I wanna say at the beginning of December, we were like 14, so with a couple posts here and there being successful, it's been nice to see. And as Amanda pointed out, like, we really were starting from scratch with our Instagram, so seeing things start to come full circle, seeing our Facebook really take off, it's, for me, really exciting. Which gets me even more giddy as we start to look for our, intern coming into the next year, whether it's actually having an intern or working with the entrepreneur classes. I think it'd be nice to help tell our county how, do things without college, do things with college. Here are more of your options. You're not the influencer, but here's how you read the data. Just kind of fun things. Wrapping up event planning, we're heading into Winterfest, which is our small market at Strauss Park. We're going in conjunction with pond hockey, down at Cabin Creek. Hopefully we'll be able to capitalize on people here, bring more people here and vice versa, just kind of be exchanging. As it was noted, the more events you have, the more people are to come, so it's great to have two things going on rather than one. We're still talking with pond hockey with, CCMRD, we're gonna be meeting Thursday on the line. On that, on Slacker and with Wheeling Park rink being open, they are trying to bring adult and youth sports to the rink, maybe just some broom hockey. So that'll be nice. I think we're trying to open up discussions on how can we have CCMRD here, but also keep Georgetown in mind, whether that's a discounted fee for Georgetown residents or, giving them the full permit application and then a discount reoccurring. We want them to be here, but we want the best for the people at the same time.
Hey, Jess?
Yes.
Sorry, so I
Yes.
just started on the community center board and I just coordinated with CCMRD to also start bringing stuff into the community center too. So maybe you and I should talk too about what events could be hosted at the community center through CCRMD, if that's helpful.
I think it's helpful, but even if we wanna cut out CCMRD, when I first started, we talked about, I'm a plant person, we have clipping parties and maybe we meet at the park and then go to the restaurant next week or the next month. Or, how can Georgetown do more without bringing in the rec center?
Oh, I see
But
what
the
you're saying.
community
Got it.
center would be great, yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. Okay, cool, thanks.
No, I am just talking right now, so you are great, throw me all the ideas, I think,
I will.
yes, I love them.
And they are doing bingo Sunday, right? The community center?
Yeah,
We're
Sunday the 14th is bingo. We're just waiting for one more piece of confirmation to start promoting that more.
And are you advertising BYOB or is that just on the flyer?
We are removing it because
Oh.
I'm not entirely sure. At first it was approved by the community center board, but now I don't know, so it's just easier to take it off. So don't push that out, please.
No, you're fine, it was just more of like, okay, looking into other things, we're still looking into casino night, whether it's gambling laws, the rules of the games, just general legals. Then mapping it out and then reaching out eventually to the businesses to participate. I'm hoping to have that wrapped up, by the middle of the month, that way we can start planning, because if we wanna do this in April or May, when we're a little bit slower, we're gonna wanna have the planning done in legal, taken care of, that way we can move into the alcohol consumption, move into shuttles and just general advertising. Going into 4th of July, which I know that's also on our agenda here. Most places have either opted out of fireworks, Frisco has, just their board's decision, it's on their website, blah, 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 legal stuff. And Idaho Springs typically runs their stuff in-house. I've connected with them a little bit just to see how we can do things here, but whether we're looking at $25,000+ or we might have to get a little more creative with what we're doing, I don't wanna put a no into it, especially with Idaho Springs, they may not have anything going on over the summer with how much construction they're gonna be having, whether it's on Minor Street or just around their town. So that's something we can capitalize on. So I don't wanna lose that momentum. But so me and Andrew Marsh are connecting to talk a little bit more about it.
There is absolutely zero possibility that it was Springs will.
I'm just saying what was in my email, Craig. Maybe I'll manifest it, you don't know.
You on my street.
And then they can come to Georgetown. Poor Amanda. We're gonna stay open.
Oh, I'll stay open for those fireworks.
You can close down Winters.
Fireworks on the creek, but
I,
on the
yeah.
creek.
Just other minor things that I've been working on, Westburn and 5280, we started talking about more organic, non-paid or not paid advertising opportunities, more organic. Whether we're kind of offering them a little something with, kind of like with influencers, they come here, we give them a place to stay, or we fully just kind of say, this is Georgetown in the winter, these are your activities. I wanna really build a campaign with them and not just put dollars behind things without fully seeing the return. That's what I was gonna say. Mountain Town Magazine, they delayed their printing, but we're still gonna be the featured town. I'm talking with Holly on that. Because of the delayed in printing, they're not printing HGI's ad. She called me about that. I don't know if you guys got in touch. However, she did do some social media push for Christmas market through her channels, which I
No, that was,
appreciated.
yeah, and we did see some things from them, but yeah, the Christmas market ad obviously would not be appropriate at
It
this
would
point.
not be perfect right now, but we'll keep that in mind going forward with their marketing. And because they came out and helped out with Christmas market, they also did a feature on 511, which I appreciate.
Sure.
I know he does too. And then just the last follow-up is on our TikTok. It's on its way. We're just trying to, trying to switch it up to really not just copy and paste, because what you do on Facebook isn't gonna work on Instagram, it's not gonna work on TikTok. You can sometimes cross promote TikTok and Instagram, but eventually I have to stop being lazy and really have to differentiate, do the trending audios, do different voiceovers, and really get the dynamic content that each platform wants to see. So, that's my year in review.
I think you're doing great. Thank you.
I have a feeling the next discussion is going to be pretty robust.
I tried to push
Exciting.
through. Just,
I mean, how else do you set up this, amazing topic that we're about to dive into at 8:45 in the morning? Let's talk about budget, Mary Sims.
Wait, Justin has a question.
Oh, sorry.
Not so much a question,
You have something
Justin,
to
I
ask.
just circling back to the Christmas tree program.
Yeah.
I just want to float this idea again, since we have a neighbor, working now. It sounds like manpower is always an issue and helpers. At one point, there was a discussion about investing some time and energy into organizing a, local volunteer pool in Georgetown. I don't know if that's something now that you feel like tackling, but it could be something to always have some sort of like list of people that you can always call on instead of starting from scratch for each event.
You're not wrong. We started that, and it has fallen off my radar, because we did a push for the 4th of July. I do have like a volunteer form that I can start advertising a little bit heavier. Yeah,
Do you think there's quite a bit of,
I can't keep asking Rotary co-directors to have.
yeah, I think in town, you'd be surprised how much participation you probably be able to scare up. Just if you put something in the post office,
There's something somewhere, yeah. That was something I wanted to do, or I've been building, is like how to enjoy Georgetown, because with that little box downstairs in front of town hall, it's empty right now.
Yeah,
So I wanna put something in there so people can look and be like, oh, I can go to Happy Camper, or not Happy Camper, Happy Coder. I go to the Colorado Teacher and Espresso, or the Roundup Coffee Shop, just something that we have the county's tourism around, why can't we have our own?
What about something on the water bill thing? I mean, everybody gets, every
Please
local.
volunteer.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many different events coming up. I mean, I can certainly share volunteers that, we've collected along the way from HGI that aren't HGI specific at all. I mean, there's, like you say, people coming up out of the woodwork that have moved here within the last couple of years and they just want it.
they just want to.
Yeah.
Rodney came, he was probably my best volunteer this entire time, so I do see it.
Just needs a little organization.
Yeah.
Especially ask them when it's boring, like in February and March or whatever, when things are kind of quiet. You're like, yeah, and they're like, oh yeah, that'd be a good idea. I could do that. And then you've got their name and number.
I have the
Yeah.
Could at the beginning of maybe at the beginning of the year, an email could go out with all the events listed and the dates, but just to volunteers specifically. And so then they can sign up kind of in advance or have the dates at least on their radar. So it's not like a month out or a week out and like kind of last minute.
You're not wrong. With 4th of July, apparently we need more volunteers to clean up the park after. It was for just Mark and another older gentleman. So I can definitely see if we're ahead of time. Please don't get too drunk.
Come up with something more fun though on the t-shirt than just volunteer, you know, make it look.
It's
like-
circular.
Yeah, you know, like really make it a,
Something.
I already
Yeah.
have the t-shirt.
Another safety.
Come up with a name, you know?
yeah, we could, you know.
Volunteer marshal. Oh wait, that's me.
That is an excellent suggestion, and it's something that we definitely have struggled with for a very long time, so that's a good 2024 goal, Jess, and, we can definitely support you and help you get that organized as a commission. But now let's talk about the fact we have no money.
We have $3,630.
I don't think we have that anymore, I'm pretty sure we deficited last year.
Oh no, we definitely spent it, but we were pretending, Mary.
It did help your 2023 and numbers.
Are we overdrafted still? I'm joking.
I don't know, well, yeah. I haven't, you know, I won't have December done till March or beginning of April because of the delay in getting sales tax and all that stuff. But, you know, we made it work by budgeting in a possible transfer from workforce housing for 15,000. It isn't done yet, but it's in there in case we need it. I'm still working with Bighorn hospitality units. They filed all their lodging tax returns from that January straight through, which, you know, good, but they didn't pay. And I had spoken to the woman at Highline who manages them and said it would be nice to have it before the end of the year, but it didn't happen. And Jerry's supposed to be working on the VRBO, or no, the Airbnb piece, which evidently is a nationwide problem. So, but the 15,000 actually, you know, that's in there just in case, made it so you didn't have to cut back on the budget anymore than you already have. So it's there, shouldn't be spent, but it's there as a placeholder to make sure you've got enough in your ending fund balance. So.
Nothing to do with that, but a month or so ago when we were looking ahead at the December events and Christmas market and Hops and Holly and stuff, Kevin Kuharek and I had a conversation, and this is sales tax. I know you can't, there's no way that you can separate out sales tax from individual businesses for December, but can you let us know in March, whenever, what the sales tax revenue was from, as a whole, from our vendors, from Christmas market, and from the activities, and I'm not quite sure how Hops and Holly was broken out, just so that we can see kind of the positive impact that
These have-
generated. You know, without naming names, because I know that's not,
Sure,
you
no,
know,
it would be kind of a, you know,
it's based on if
not
they paid or not.
super accurate.
Right.
Also because, and I don't know how Cabin Creek is going to report Hops and Holly. So if it's mixed in with theirs, there's no way to separate that out.
Right, but they had some additional vendors there, though, that hopefully
Yeah,
were
I mean,
seeing, you know,
yeah,
and we can pin down from just that day. And, you know, like Jess said, we won't know, other than the comments that our merchants made, that, oh, they had a great weekend. But it would be nice to know that this little bump and what that little bump was you know,
Just from
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
vendors that came in. I can do that.
Yeah, that's all.
Certainly,
you know, we know it's fall,
but it's gonna be very bulk.
yeah,
But I think I actually think it's more useful, and Mary does do this, to break out Sixth Street. Generally, because we're not just looking at the sales tax or sales impact of the event vendors, right? The whole point behind doing those events isn't to benefit the vendor or to generate the incremental little bit of sales tax that those vendors are generating, but to enhance the whole. And so that's what I'd be even more curious about a year-over-year comparison for Sixth Street sales with, you know, from December to December.
I mean, I have it south of,
Yes.
I mean, is that?
North of 11, south of
That's a
11.
typical breakout.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I didn't know if you wanted.
but so I think that's what we should look, you know, so come March or April, when you've got, you know, or you feel you have most of the revenue, you know, accounted for. It would be nice to look at it with those eyes on those figures, you know, just to, you know, and you certainly will have, you know, your information, you know, anecdotal or not, that you can share, and Cabin Creek the same, you know, kind of thing, so that we can have that, you know, just to see the impact. It would be nice to actually look at it from that angle and say, wow, good job, Georgetown, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think the bigger number also helps one come to this group and go to select and be like, okay, it's legitimate, it's beneficial to the entire community for you to support this event,
exactly,
right? Because this is the greater impact. It's not just about,
yeah.
you know, one vendor or another.
The one thing that's tricky in the scheme of sales tax, like using sales tax as the barometer for, I mean, because, I mean, it honestly don't have other barometers, so it's difficult to quantify. But because it is so inconsistent in like the day-to-day volume. And so I see this as a positive, but I'm trying to think of a way to actually like make it meaningful data, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think,
that's what
yeah.
I'm struggling with a little bit, for a lot of work for Mary.
We have a data analyst that, she's called Jessica Tribbett.
Well, yeah, no, it's a really good point, because coming up, I mean, we could look historically and index, you know, our December sales tax revenue to like 3 or 4 years worth of more specific and drill down data. You could probably even go to individual businesses and be like, hey, listen, we're not gonna disclose this is right here, we're building a model here. We just need the information to develop the model, it'll be completely anonymous, and then actually you could index that then with a small sample size and have some more predictability around what your projected revenues or sales tax benefit would be by expanding an event or, you know, whatever. But so I think it would go to your goal without having Mary every single year trying to drill down on specific.
And we have to extrapolate the new taxes that have been implemented, like the
Absolutely,
Amazon tax, which is always kind of inflating the.
in a really good.
I mean, it's not bad for the bottom line, but it's not good for the data. Because it doesn't give us a true picture of, because don't you go
You
back?
separate that
You
out.
separate that out and then flip it, right?
That's separated out, yeah, just under other, or, you know, anything.
Do you quantify it into north or south of 11? Put it into that figure at all?
Well, no, because I don't know where.
Yeah, you don't know
So,
where.
so much of it is just different mail order companies, it just gets thrown in other.
Well, and I don't think it's impacting anybody in Georgetown. Well, no, it might a little bit, you know, the Department of Revenue is now putting out the 10-cent collection on bags. And that's applying to restaurants now, this year. So we're paying, I think we pay 6 cents.
But
Ours go bags.
Yeah, we're
Excuse-
not. doing that.
are you not
Don't do that
exempt
either.
because you are a single
It's
business?
up to charge, is what I understand.
No, this is
I
a
got a
different
notice
year.
from the Department of Revenue.
It's not it's a different level of the program now, where, yeah.
Yeah, I better read up on
Yeah.
that.
I got.
Because
I can send you
other-
what I got from
We
the,
have one business that
Family Dollar.
applies, and
they're not supposed to use them at all. Oh, maybe they're in the low, so now, like.
It's either Family Dollar or Circle K that's complying, and I have to look, but
They've changed it, so now basically, big grocery stores, big stores can't use plastic at all. Gone,
Yeah.
doesn't exist anymore. Then the smaller entities can use plastic, but we have to charge. I think did you get a notice from DOR? I'm sorry, I didn't even see.
No, I don't think it did.
I got a notice from them.
I usually get emails and notices, and I have not received anything.
Well, I mean, they also had they penalized me for a to-go account for Uber Eats that supposedly I had, cause I showed up on someone's Uber Eats. So that was yeah, but. It's like, we don't have Uber Eats. I can assure you, I would be delighted if we did, but we do not. So anyway, separate. Bottom line is like to get the sales tax data that we need. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be good. So, but we need to figure out a way to not make a ton of work for you.
So like, if you want to the sales tax, though, like December, like for Christmas market, we always do poorly for Christmas market. So we have better sales. the 2 weeks
Interesting.
Following that. You do bad, 4th of July. Anytime you have events down here, we always do bad because you cut off the street right there. So we always do.
So it always hurts you guys.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, and so those are the data points that to try and make the big picture meaningful as far as like the ROI, that's important for us to know, cause yeah, that's not the goal for sure. I know the other point of the conversation was basically determination about where we could best apply our resources. You had something to say.
Well, I'm still baffled.
Same.
Why?
Well, because we are. I mean, this says we have to spend in 2024 by $34,000.
Yes.
And it says we had a surplus in 2023 of $35,000. So is that a trade-off? We're carrying over 35,000 from 2023 to 2024?
Mhm.
Okay,
And you've got the 15,000 that is there if needed.
I still have a problem with that terminology, it's either in the budget or not, but,
Well, okay,
but.
may I just explain something?
Yeah.
We tried to come up with a way where we would not have to cut promotions budget any further. So the Board of Selectmen agreed to give the loan to make up the difference, just so the fund balance was within budget guidelines.
The transfer from workforce is in the budget for this year, correct?
Correct.
But we can't spend it.
Correct, that was the deal with the Board of Selectmen.
Alright.
That's,
So are we deficit
Can I-
$45,000 without that?
your deficit spending $15,000 if you,
48,000. 49.
That's what I'm asking.
well, no, because, let me look.
I didn't bring my glasses because I left my.
So 38, so 15, well, because it is technically shown in there, so 18,000. You'd still be pulling out of your fund
No, if
balance.
so if we pull that 15,000 out, which is basically what you're saying we have to do, we can't spend that much.
Correct,
Okay, still want to hear from our selecting reps. But if you pull that number out.
well, I
then our-
can let
then
you
our-
listen to
then
the
our-
recording,
Yeah,
right?
that's fine too, but our deficit number then goes from minus $34,000 to minus 49.
You're right. No,
Yeah, that's what I'm
you
saying.
are correct, I'm sorry.
That's.
But the hope and the goal is to get these lodging tax people, some that we know about, some that are various Airbnb, to pay up and, collect some of these back ones from the past year that we've never received. But I've hit a brick wall with Airbnb.
And that's my concern, is because you've been very, very clear each and every month that it is not your expectation that we're gonna see that revenue.
Well,
If that's the case,
I expect we'll see it. How soon we will see it is going to be the issue and, you know, we've captured and fixed a lot of issues,
sure.
the big one being VRBO.
And I know it's been incredibly frustrating for you and it's been a lot of work. I'm trying to be responsible and know that. I mean, we're not spending that 15 grand is what we're being. Corrected. So we need to be aware of that today and not next November. Number one, number two, from a long-term strategy perspective, this budget plays off of a surplus from 2023 that we're gonna spend in 2024. So presumably, we're gonna have to create a whole new $35,000 for 2025, like we're kicking a can down the road. We may as well just start looking at the budget now and figuring out what we're cutting.
Correct
To
me.
the tune of 49,000, not 15,000, not 34.
Okay. The fund balance is being carried over. It's not just an overage from 2023. I mean, it's,
Sure, even worse.
you know,
That makes the situation.
Well-
Even worse.
Mary, what's the vibe, Smith, excuse me, what is the Board of Selectmen? I mean, obviously, they were generous with the $15,000. What's the overall picture for the town's budget, and what does the Board of Selectmen think the value is in trying to increase our marketing efforts to increase our revenues to help the budget? Is there a thought on that, or is it that just we need to kind of get it together?
The board is very supportive of business promotions and our events and marketing. The 15,000, 17,000, whatever, was truly just kind of a transfer on paper type thing. I think what Mary is sharing with us here and what she has shared with the board, and the board needs to put more pressure on Jerry for the lodging piece and how we're handling it with the VRBOs. I think I think there's a better sense of the money coming in from Highline late to the tune of what, 15, 20 grand in back taxes?
I think it closer to 10, I think, in
Oh.
bad ones. But now, when they file, like October and November, they file and they pay. It's just that big chunk from back to January that they go, we don't have the money, so. Which again, that whole situation down at Bighorn needs to be revisited as far as short-term rentals. I mean,
The evil web.
the evil web, yes, that
Um,
is very true.
I think what I'm trying to get at is that in this conversation today, is the goal for us, so we're not sitting here just spinning our wheels bitching about money. That we look at the budget and cut things down. Like, go, okay, well, here's what's not happening as of now. And we come up with contingencies to get through the first quarter while you're trying to get organized with the back end stuff. Or is it that we make a plan to become more aggressive with collections? Like, I mean, is the collection gonna offset the deficit? So those are kind of three questions, two and a half questions.
So if you'll notice on lodging tax, we budgeted for 2024, 66,000 versus in 2023, we had 112.
Yeah,
So we pretty much, we cut back the sign, we slowed down the whole signage.
but we
That,
committed to the one side.
yes, and we did half of it in 2023, we'll do the other half. And then, and that's one of the larger ones. So if we slow down that process, it doesn't have to happen yesterday. Then I think, you know, it's just, I don't think you need to cut anything right now. I just think you need to pay attention to what you're spending and what is budgeted for and go, oh, well, it's not in the budget, but yeah, we need it now, you know, unless it's obviously, I need it now, but, you know,
I think, and that's where I wanna just like kind of quantify, because obviously we can't do things without money, but it is really hard for us to look at our stakeholders and say, oh, I'm so sorry, we don't have money to market our town. When, you know, that's where it gets tricky. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out,
I
the,
mean, I think you're perfectly
So the way
within,
this is
I mean, spend your media advertising. You had 37,000 last year, you only,
it's spend.
like 2,000, well, it's gonna be a little bit more than that, because there's some things that are pending right now.
So if
But-
we spend what's on paper here, and we go forward with the media advertising and the budgeting for events, we're not gonna, but we're still gonna blow it up 15 grand, so I mean, so that's what I'm trying to get at, do we need to cut down 48,000, do we need to cut down 15,000?
No, the 15,000 is not. What, if you spend everything that's on here, the 15,000, you're still gonna have enough money to do what you want. We're just gonna get a nick from the state auditor saying, okay, wait a minute, you don't have enough of a fund balance left over. That's what the 15,000 was to accomplish. So
Cause we have to keep the fund balance at a certain level.
3 months worth,
For
yes,
together,
of the expenditures, so. You know, I mean, I'm confident that this lodging tax will get fixed. However, I'm just not sure on the time frame.
So with that being said, then as we move into future, and I obviously I feel not right since I'm not. We're light the chair today, especially just being like, we're gonna do all the things, that seems a little bit. Not cool, but it is on paper, so for us to have these discussions. I mean, are we comfortable as a commission with how this looks? Is the question.
Me as an individual commission member, absolutely not. We do not have a fiscal plan for this year. Not like this. Not like this.
I think, I.
That's just my opinion. You guys can disagree and I will totally respect it. Not that we're gonna change it right now.
No,
It's
so here's
not,
what-
it needs to be discussed because
I think what we need to do, and I can take this on, is break the budget into quarters and evaluate it on a quarterly basis as far as like where we're at. We need to commit to the first 3 months, because we know those are the most meaningful as far as when revenue is really light for us as a town. We see our sales tax decline, we commit to doing what we were gonna do for the first 3 months. We take the budget, we break it into quarters. We maybe have a work session this month, so we're not sitting here wasting time. And then we know that we can at least put forth some cohesive marketing efforts to get through the really slow time. And then maybe we lighten up in summer when we don't necessarily need marketing effort. That's my opinion.
I'm fine with another session to sit down, but it needs to be everyone at this table. And I applaud you for putting the effort into it, but we all need to be a part of that so that this isn't just handed off and submitted to the board and the board of selectmen is like, okay, you know, and this is what we need to tweak to make sure that it looks good on paper kind of thing. Again, the board doesn't want to see the efforts gone away.
Yeah.
You know, but let's look at it with what we're planning on doing in 2024. You know, and we just can participate in that to the extent and to know the parameters of what's going to be coming up down the line, you know? So if we're looking at, you know, first quarter, great. and then we make adjustments, you know, for second quarter or whatever.
The first two quarters are the ones we suffer the most. They're the ones we need to build up. We do really well in third quarter. We do mostly well with the exception of November and fourth quarter. So if we're talking about when the money is gonna be meaningful, I think it's the next 6 months. That's just my opinion.
So do we wanna look at a date to sit down? But then again, we don't have a couple of other members here, but.
Let's schedule tentatively for 2 weeks from today and I'll take on that task
Okay.
and I will talk to you, the chair.
Does that work for everyone?
Could we come today? Supposed to leave town that day.
Do you wanna do it? What about Tuesday? Day before?
I can do the day before,
Justin?
that's fine.
The 16th?
Yeah, or I can do the week after. on Tuesday.
You can do the 16th?
I can do this.
Okay.
I have to be in the office that day on the 16th. So would it be in the morning?
Yeah, we'll probably do it at like 8:30, so we can,
Okay, I could go in the afternoon. That's fine.
are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll tentatively plan on the 16th and I will talk to Kevin. Okay,
And this would be a work session? or
yeah,
special?
and then we'll just,
Okay.
and can maybe the three of us meet before and go through like a breakdown, and we'll try and break down a bunch of data and see where what things look like. Does that
And
work?
then going forward, if you can just jot down a list of breakdowns you'd like to see on sales tax to analyze what's, you know, if I can break it down further for you,
8:30.
let me know.
Let me, if you guys as a commission wanna think on that, please, and maybe get that information to Mary and CC me on it, so, because honestly, the data is so, there's a million ways to break it down, and that's what I'm just trying to figure out a way to break it down without it becoming convoluted and a waste of time. I'm more interested in what we have versus what we wish for at this time, but that's just me. How much exists? But thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, we're like your favorite commission. I mean, I would love us if I was you. All right, moving on. We're gonna table wayfinding signage since the chair is not here and he is in charge of that project. We appear to also be lacking a town administrators who will also be.
Well, wait, we're doing the alternate.
Oh, did I skip
The
code?
alternate number 6.
Oh, sorry. I thought that, yes,
We moved because we figured,
Got it.
yeah,
I was still sitting in my kitchen,
That's
on my
okay.
kitchen table for that.
okay.
Alternate member discussion. Hi, Mike. You want to be on the commission?
Sure.
All right.
So I think we were all good for the informal.
Great, so be here on the 16th.
Yeah, if you can send an email to what Jess and Jen and Kevin, that'd be great.
Jen Jordan?
No, Jen, you,
Jen, you.
Jen, Y.
Oh, I'm sending myself an email.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
Mike's in.
Sorry,
Jess, or I didn't address.
you were looking
before.
at me.
He really just needs to send it to you.
Champagne.
Yeah, I get it.
Considered For, you know,
Yeah, submit your letter of intent.
Yes.
Email.
and then that way Jen can get it
And
out.
so then Tuesday, we have a board of selectmen meeting. We can make that appointment.
So if you could get that to me.
16th.
No, Tuesday the 9th.
But if you could, I'll need the letter of intent by this Thursday to include it in the agenda, yeah, that's tomorrow, in the agenda package.
It just needs to say I'm interested in being in BPC.
Yeah, it can just be a really short.
I can send you my template.
He's gonna.
Do I show up for the first like the meeting?
No, you don't. Well, yeah, sure,
You can.
I can, I'll sit there.
show up, yeah, because,
Just so they can say, oh, thanks.
yeah, because
See you.
there's some members that would like to see you there.
Yeah.
That's 8 AM as well, right?
No, that's at 6 o'clock at night.
Also a short-
Oh, that is virtual.
6 P.M. You can appear by Zoom if you have something.
So, be here.
And then in February, if you want to be vice chair,
Or maybe we'll just put you as chair, you know?
either way, it's fine.
Thanks, Mike.
Together.
Welcome to the team, Mike.
Do you guys wanna make a motion that you're gonna recommend them?
Sure. Can I please have a motion to recommend Mike Huggins as a new member of Business Promotions Commission?
Moved.
Second,
All in favor?
He's gonna be an alternate because you need a commission, right?
We do,
Vice Chair, I'm out.
I'm gonna say an alternate member
Yeah,
for now,
which,
because you have
but
a.
alternate members can vote
Yes.
yeah,
if in the
When
absence
needed,
of a full.
yes,
Right,
No quorum.
yes.
but they always have a voice.
It is.
That is a sweet spot. All right, we are lacking a town administrator because I believe they're still out of town, so
Do you want to update your stuff?
He's at Rotary.
You have the assistant down
I'm so sorry, I did not mean to overlook that.
there.
I can't, I don't have any specific updates for you, so.
Okay, yeah, and I apologize, I was not, I didn't even know I was running this meeting until. So I had to run and change out of my PJs.
No problem, sorry about it.
We have to change out of our PJs for. Well, I did because I came down here.
Were there specific things that Rick was keeping you updated about, you want to know?
Usually he just kind of gives us like a brief overview of like the lay of the land, as far as like things that are happening within the townscape. It's not anything. Yeah,
Another thing about that specifically as well with you guys, I did wanna let you know that my grad program typically is looking for capstone projects around this time, so if you have anything individually or as a commission that you wanna propose, I can do that for you, so.
oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll, put that on our radar. Wayfinding, website, fireworks, what do we want, guys? Sky.
All of the above.
Do we, I mean, is it worth having a fireworks discussion on top of this work session? I mean, we know we want fireworks, but it's still out in the ether is, can we afford fireworks?
So why don't we talk about fireworks after we
That's what I'm
have our
saying,
budget
like,
meeting?
I mean, I don't think there's a question about a desire. I think it's a question about logistics, and those logistics are financial.
Okay, so let me jump in though on that. The board made it very clear at our retreat in
Yes.
October that the number one, or that the priority was, and it was number one, that fireworks is important to Georgetown. And so I'll go out on a limb, and I think it's a short limb.
Don't go too far.
I know.
Sure, so.
That would be financially supported by the board, regardless of what this budget looks like. Because of the strong desire of the community and the board to have fireworks in Georgetown.
Cool.
So,
When we also, the other piece of it with, that I was going to bring up today when I saw this was on the agenda is, I don't know when fireworks became the sole responsibility for pollutions.
It became very.
it's the same with wayfaring sign, or wayfinding signs, wayfaring.
That's been my question with a lot of things.
When I started on the commission, fireworks just existed, and I don't recall us having any major role.
That was somebody's, yeah, that was just somebody's.
Because it had to fall into somebody's pocket in the budget is my guess, and it made sense to somebody that it went into BPC. I don't know if there's a lot of rhyme or reason to it, but I see there's a valid point in us driving it,
Absolutely.
you know,
100%,
so.
especially in the absence of anybody else to drive it.
So just as far as like cost goes, I mean, if we, you know,
It used to come out of the park.
Well,
well.
so where are we with fireworks?
If our-
Give us-
We're north of $25,000
For how long of a show?
for about 20 minutes or less, depending on the wind.
Okay, well, I watched an 8-minute show New Year's Eve, and I can tell you 8 minutes is not long enough.
It's not long enough, that's why we nixed the drones, because with our wind, it would only be 8 to 10
And
minutes.
scratch the drone.
No, we're only on fireworks right now,
Okay.
lasers and drones have been nixed as well. I've been trying to look into like bigger sponsorship opportunities, you know, maybe some, not our smaller businesses, but big names, the Corey Rock Company, I don't know. I was thinking like Home Depot and places,
Yeah,
maybe they could start doing small donations here and there. It would not really get to anything crazy, but I mean, $3,000 is still helpful to know.
Doesn't Henderson Mine have a grant program that every year they give out so much money? That could be something you could look into.
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would like, I really think we should back up from the money for a second.
Yeah, I think the money's the issue.
Doug Price, who Mary may remember,
Mhm.
was the superintendent of schools here for about 5 minutes, and he said one thing that was useful in the entire time he was here. And that was work from a position of abundance, not scarcity. Start with the idea, work it through, at the end of the day, the reason you can't do it is because you can't afford it. Well done, but you didn't just cut the whole conversation short because you decided up front you couldn't pull it out financially. There is a way to make this happen financially. I am 100% certain of that.
I'm not concerned about the finances. I think we should be, what's our deadline and what can we have? And when do we need to sign on the dotted line? That's the information that we know. We know what fireworks looks like. We want to know how long it's gonna be, where we're gonna do it, and what applications, if necessary, we need to get the ball rolling now. I'm just guessing this off the top of my head. And the contract with the company that's gonna come out and do it. And
So,
The last part is the only part that's relevant, is finding the vendor.
well,
Because the
And what
community, and listen, well, and I know I sound like a know-it-all on this stuff, but I mean, I've actually
but you've
done homework.
you've done that too.
And the only people that stop us from doing fireworks is us.
I agree.
We have the authority as a territorial charter community in the state of Colorado to do fireworks. We can do it. We don't have to ask the fire department's permission. We don't have to ask the cops permission. We don't have to ask the county. And nobody else gets to tell us whether or not we can do fireworks. Period. It's just us. It's the board of selectmen buying through their policy making powers.
So can we get them July 4th? Have you talked to any vendors that we can sign on the dotted line for July 4th?
Like one or two, I can go back there and make sure and call them today. But yeah.
I mean,
Contacts too, I can give you if you want.
Please.
Go around.
Captain Pyro over here.
That
Well,
way-
I would rather, if we know them,
Well, I
we're
got
just
slaughtered last time we ran up this hill, a few years.
Let me get them slaughtered, that's fine.
I will be right in front of you.
I don't care, I don't want a mask to go around and light things on the side.
no, and I appreciate what you're saying as far as, how we stand as a territorial charter and everything like that. To me, what I recall from the last time we went around with this, probably in June, 2 days before the 4th of
I
July.
think it was the first actually.
Probably.
It
was. Well, we did it the year before too, and we came into that same thing. If we're talking a professional fireworks company or whatever you call the explosive people that do the fireworks, we are in a totally different ballgame with the concerns from the fire authority
Correct.
than we are if all of us go out and buy the biggest for our buck up in Wyoming and blast them off. Okay, it puts us into two different realms. So though it's cheaper to go up to Wyoming and buy the biggest bangs for the buck, but so if we're talking a professional company, then we're in a totally different ballgame here. And I'm not against the fight with the fire authority for something less. But again, we need to talk about it now or 2 months ago as opposed to June 30th.
Family, like, company that have done it for like 60 years.
And they have all their fingers?
They take care of it, they do all the.
I don't care if they
surveys.
have other fingers.
They walk you through everything and you just come and check.
Yeah, they're out there.
So,
It's just pain.
the other piece of this too is that if this is the cost, wouldn't that go into, I mean, we can vote to say we endorse it. If this is a money's no object type of situation, we can have Kevin draft something that says the Board of Business Promotions Commission, but it wouldn't need to be Board of Selectmen that has to vote on that because it's hidden into the, it's outside of our budget. So,
No, but this
so
comes up.
just cause like, basically,
The proposal.
you have till Tuesday to get a proposal.
No, you have until Thursday to get, which is tomorrow.
Listen, see what you can get.
Yeah.
Right? And if all that happens on Tuesday is, listen, we've got some traction, we're talking to 2 or 3, pyrotechnics companies, we think we can pull this off in a,
Are you gonna put your money where your mouth is, Board of Selectmen? That's what it comes
Yeah,
down to.
that's what it
That's all.
Can y'all please?
There's no talking about guys 25 grand.
Yeah,
And
We also have 1,500 floating around from the chili cook-off.
Yep.
like
Yeah.
5 years ago, that was earmarked for that. purpose.
yeah.
and don't let them go, oh boy, that's kind of, We can find the money. That's actually-
So here, if we have some preliminary information, if you can get it to Jen by whatever the deadline is tomorrow or whatever. Just off the cuff stuff, we're not looking at a signed contract. We can discuss it at the board meeting on Tuesday night. We have a board of selectmen Tuesday night.
We do.
We can then give you direction, we can, direct staff, blah, 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 at the board meeting, which would be you, to follow through on that. If you don't have it by tomorrow, we still have a board meeting coming up. What's the next one that we have?
Second Tuesday, isn't it?
Usually I have these stupid dates floating in my mind, no,
I
after the
unfortunately
16th.
have district school board on
The
Tuesday night, so I
23rd.
can't care.
So I would, because I think we're gonna lose the opportunity to sign with
We
somebody
are.
if we don't move
Like
faster,
now.
but. So that's our pressure.
Yep.
So
And
let's-
they- and then
You
you
can
can,
take whatever day, and have to go forward.
And, right,
Say that.
so the fourth is
Exactly.
Thursday. I mean,
Depending on what day of the week it falls.
It's a Thursday.
Thursday.
so can we have that discussion here? If we are not 100% on the fourth, which is a Thursday this year, right?
Yep.
But do we push it to the following weekend? Do we push it to Friday night, the fifth?
Yeah.
Hello, board, commission.
I'm thinking, I could say yes, but.
What's our backup date? If we can't have it the fourth, or do we want it the fourth, or do we want to push it to Friday the fifth? What do you guys want? So that she has some direction when she's talking and trying to get this information, and we need three, we're gonna need three bids.
I think when you go after holidays, that's what I'm trying,
Yeah, you lose the momentum.
the moment's over, the moment's passed,
After Christmas, I don't want to see a tree again.
I would try to third then, I think the second, it being on a Tuesday would be weird, if the second was on a Friday, then I'd be like, okay, but I'd shoot for the third if we can't get them on the fourth.
Yeah, third or fourth.
Because at least that's Wednesday and people are traveling and they're.
Honestly,
Okay,
some
so
of the
then-
biggest shows in Denver, third, like Glendale's is always on the
Yeah.
third, it's always the day before.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so we're either looking the third or the fourth?
Yeah.
Okay,
okay. All right, so we have a plan, yeah, as long as, Daddy Selectman wants to pay for it, that's what I'm gonna refer to the selectman as for.
Okay.
from now.
Money.
Yeah. As long as they're gonna pay for it, that's great. I like how 40 minutes ago we had no money, but now we're like super
Yeah.
flush.
well.
Yeah.
Like,
I
the
would
final
not.
one, we did not have money, but but the
But we
board,
have
but the board was
Exactly.
adamant on that, so we'll see,
all right,
we'll see, put their money
um,
where their mouth is.
9:30.
Amanda, if you don't mind, you
Oh.
mentioned wayfinding signs.
Yeah.
And so I just wanna, Kevin Kumar mentions, we did the wayfinding signage at the DRC meeting. That was, they were
Oh.
with it. But he mentioned that you guys have an audit of all the signage
We
in
do.
town, so I would love to get my hands on that.
Kevin actually is the owner of that document,
awesome.
or Jen maybe has it because it's been in some packets.
Okay.
Of ours, Kevin's the one who did the heavy lifting on that, that's why I deferred on that item, because he's kind of the master of wayfinding, he did a really good job. He went around and like audited every sign in town and found all the inconsistencies, so I don't know, do you have that?
I can look for it, otherwise he would have it for sure.
He definitely has it, but if not, it was
In a past agenda
It
packet.
was in a past agenda packet, like, it's been around for a long time, so you might have to go through a few agenda packets, but.
Okay.
It's a really good document.
The other thing is that I'm currently doing streetscape research for guidelines for the DRC, which will include wayfinding signage, and just so you guys know about that.
In the big picture, I don't think that we as a commission, and this is purely opinion, own the entire financial burden of getting the wayfinding signage where it needs to be. And in the discussion packets, we've identified signs that we feel belong to parks, we've identified signs that we feel belong to town,
Road bridge, yeah.
road bridge. And so I think that that document will be really helpful because there are some signs that we should definitely be responsible for, but there are other signs that we should not.
Don't come out of our pocket.
Financially, that's kind of, and that's what it comes down to.
I would like to, if you could include, the actual use of the roundabout for and what kind of signage might be, you know, size-wise, whatever would be appropriate there. There, at some point, and this was back when Marv and you could probably have some information on this, when the roundabout went in, that the decision was made not to put signs there, and why, I don't know. And so this,
That was a decision made by Parks. Parks was put in charge of landscaping inside that roundabout.
Okay.
And so Parks, I think, was kind of in charge of driving that decision.
so when did we do the roundabout? Approximately.
2010-ish.
So I would like us,
We can revisit, absolutely.
I'd like to know why, because the people have changed, probably with the exception of Beth. But, you know, I would like to know why, and then if we're gonna try to change it, let's change it, you know, kind of thing. You know, and not ignoring the fact that they said what they did when they did it, but
I've heard it's a safety thing.
things
I mean,
change.
People are trying to look to see when they can go in, and if one person, you know, if they're sitting there reading a sign, I think it's.
There's a lot,
They're trying to sign
there's a lot of down signs in the roundabout in general, I mean, like,
We make people take them down, cause they.
well, no, I mean, like, there's
No,
signs
like
like
the
people.
ones that get run over.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from, yeah, if you haven't lived till you watch people try and drive in a circle, do, like, well, there's donkeys in the roundabout, that's a real eye opener for.
So
I-
cyclists and, yeah.
100% agree with you, and I think this, I don't think we should use preconceived notions that we can't even identify the source of to drive our decision making. If we think that there's a good idea, then we should implement it, then we can.
But there may have been a totally legit reason, and it still may be that reason that, you know, so it'd be worth the homework just to dig back and find out what that comment was, so.
All right.
Cindy, she might want to.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Number 8 on the agenda, number 9,
Coda,
communal outdoor dining area, attached draft doc from Idaho Springs for BPC to consider recommending to town code. In your packet, there was a, draft doc from Idaho Springs, and it has subsequently been passed.
so I brought this in.
Yep.
So Idaho, so this information came to me via, and this was a draft document. Steve Ender, who's from Tommyknockers, just had this in his files, okay? There was a conversation just within the last month or so, and how successful closing down Minor Street has been since COVID, but let's get away from the whole COVID thing, you know, where they've expanded their dining onto the streets. And so this is really kind of a two-part thing. And I think we can look at it separately. I don't know for sure, but Kasia, this is where I would ask that maybe, you know, this might be a direction that you can pursue for us and kind of get back to us on. The way I understand it, so Idaho Springs has a ordinance or whatever on their books that allows for, you know, the restaurants or whomever to expand into the streets or the sidewalks and to have their regular extended restaurant facilities kind of thing. But then when there's a special event, then the street becomes more of a open container and just under, you know, selected dates and timeframes.
July 4th is one of them last year.
Right, and you know, or special events where, you know, they've got the music in the street, which we do a Saturday every weekend with mountain jams kind of thing. Or we have other major events going on. So if you read through this, it's pretty straightforward. The biggest question I have with Idaho Springs is somewhere in here, it mentions, that, okay, so on page 2, under number 3, where it talks about the outer perimeter of the expanded CODA, and then about 4 lines down, it says it needs to be, it shall be monitored at all times during CODA hours by a security person, or for smaller events, security measures funded blah, 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 blah. My guess is there is no way in hell that Idaho Springs has every entry exit point monitored.
They do not.
And so I would like to know, I mean, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's find out what Idaho Springs does. Maybe they've got somebody who just kind of constantly patrols it. I foresee just for sake of discussion, that we're talking Sixth Street and we're talking Rose Street from Fifth to Seventh on a regular, I mean, that would be the main piece, you know, unless the event calls for it to be somewhere different. I think it's something that if we look at now and get our act together and get this in front of the Board of Selectmen to pass an ordinance, that we have it in time for our summer kickoff of Memorial Day. And then throughout the summer, on whatever designated dates we do it, we expand it so that, yes, absolutely. Christmas market, hops and holly, any kind of fall fest that we might be having for, you know, our peepers type thing, that we have that opportunity to do it. But I'd kind of like to piggyback. We've got a success story in Idaho Springs. My God, they're 10 miles down the street. Let's try to incorporate what they've done successfully. I don't want us to use as an excuse the fact that right now we're undermanned in our police department, because in the long term, we're not going to be, you know, and we can, even for Christmas market, we hired someone to supplement that. So if that's the case, then let's know that kind of stuff up front and let's plan accordingly. So
That's our success story right there, Christmas market.
Yeah.
Why can't we just redo that template for all this?
well, exactly. And so I think we're all on board here, but it takes, you know,
We also managed the 4th of July, which everyone was extremely concerned about, in control perimeter, that people were anxious and there was no issues with it.
and the laws have changed, okay, so, you know, years back, you know, maybe this was a good thing that came out of COVID, the way I understand it, you know, it's like, it wasn't as easy as it could be now. And so let's take advantage of that, but let's get all of our, you know, ducks in a row now, so that we're flying by Memorial Day, you know, or sooner.
Can you get the actual, ordinance from Idaho Springs too, that
Yeah, the actual ordinance is not, it doesn't even include all of this, but perhaps Kasia could put all that together for us. And maybe we could even review it on the 16th when we're looking at budget, because I think this is something that we want to, you know, or just have in our hands.
What about getting, I mean, we could do the ordinance and the legal side of things, but what about getting buy-in from people on those streets, the vendors and the businesses, to actually participate and make sure that it is up to what we would like it to be as far as, you know, the quality? Because I think one of the things that hurt us when we shut down during COVID was we shut the street down, but there wasn't anything, there wasn't really a purpose. There was like a picnic table sitting in the middle of the street. And
We ain't never got the buy-in, the Idaho.
that's what I'm saying, like.
And so that's,
Well, and I don't know if we'll have, and so I think if
I
we
just don't want
have,
that to happen again, and then everybody be like, oh, this is a terrible idea.
I agree, but I think if we have the template so that we know what we're actually asking for, and so again, it's two parts. Does the business community on Sixth Street, the greater Sixth Street area, want to have the opportunity to offer this communal outdoor dining area? That's one piece,
Yeah.
because they may not,
Let's not limit it to 6th Street. Let's,
whatever.
it's the business community want.
Okay, yeah, and then the second part is, let's do this event piece, you know, there's financial pieces that are, you know, indicated in here that I don't think the business community is going to be pitching in for. It's BPC and the town that's gonna be doing, it's the town that's gonna be doing this, come on, you know?
I personally think it's a great idea, I just don't want it to fall into the same.
No, I agree, yeah, but we have different businesses now too. And, or maybe they just wanna do it some of the time, you know, maybe they just wanna do it on
Some.
weekends or whatever, and maybe not the whole, you know, strolling up and down the street special event thing, but maybe on Saturdays and Sundays, you wanna be able to bump out on your sidewalk or one side of the street. I don't know, I
I'd love
agree.
to see the goal be like a Christmas market type event, at least like once a month in Georgetown.
Yeah.
So that's something we are looking to
Cool.
try, pull off like a farmer's quote market, we're working on a name. But, you know, that could be something we can
That's what a
help
goal
pair
looks
with
like
it.
to me.
But for me, could we offer an incentive, like, you know, maybe the other businesses that aren't restaurants, they could do like little sidewalk sales? I know Columbine puts like some things out, but maybe we can help other
Absolutely.
businesses see the alert being a part of it, like, we don't need to close the street for them. You know, how can they still be involved? My other point of concern, which we can always work around, just gotta say it, is having, what is it, that portion of Rose Street closed, especially with Guanella Pass being open, is that gonna be an issue?
It depends on the timing, I mean, yeah.
Cool, I just gotta say it and then I'm good.
In summer, it's gonna be an issue because people are going up Guanella Pass, but so those are all the things, I think if we start to look at, you know, let's get the details of what we think we want, and then we can knock out all those other.
Let's break, I really think we should break the conversation into two parts. One is create the framework that it gives us the opportunity to, listen, if nothing else, implement it during the events program. It's, right, worst case is, we already have some events. Now we've got this tool in the toolbox to deploy for those. And then build upon that, right? Perhaps go, oh my God, look, that worked really well. We've been doing really well over the last couple of years. We, kicked and nudged and got our toe in and then got, oh, look, no biker gangs, things like that. But let's create the tool first, or buy the tool, and that's this, and then we can figure out all the different ways to deploy it. I agree, the COVID street shutdown didn't work as well as we all had hoped. I think we collectively, can lean into that a little bit more and make it more successful. And I've got 1,000 thoughts on how that happens, but again, the bottom line is none of it matters if we don't create the tool that allows us to move forward in a way that creates a different kind of environment for the customer. Listen, they're doing it like 5 nights a week in the summer and Idaho Springs. It's so, I mean.
This is my one question though, and this is maybe something for you to dig into. So in the security and control monitoring, the licensee responsibility, it's the responsibility of each liquor licensee to monitor their own outdoor service area. Because I've been down there and the way, like, who takes the hit if there's, God forbid there's a problem? That's the only thing I want us to like maybe quantify a little bit, because I know I'm on page 3.
Next one.
You wanna know who's liar?
But I think there's a difference there if you're talking that.
Well, I mean, there's, if like, so say like I serve a minor.
Yeah,
Yeah, it says it's, but if, because of the fact you're away, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm not in front, if I'm carrying a beer in front of Westbound and I hand it to Nolan in front of Tommy Knocker, who's on the line for that?
Who is the mother?
Well, yes,
Well-
I mean, I realize it's not the best example.
I think we can ask ourselves that question, or we can simply ask Steve.
And
That's what I want to quantify, because I think that's an important conversation for like.
that's how we want to write our ordinance though, so that it works for us. We don't have 20 different restaurants like Idaho Springs does. So I think if we're talking, if 511 decides to bump out on the street, and I'm just using them,
Yeah,
because
they're one of the people, they're
Yeah.
not.
two out of the 3 restaurants down.
Logistically, there's how many license holders down here? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, there's a handful.
there's 6 or 8 of them. I mean, you figure hotel repairs,
Yeah.
I mean.
But there's no, they don't.
No, but I mean, but they,
Yeah, I'm talking regular.
But they may wanna
license
look to expand if they have the opportunity, I know Kevin's been looking.
I don't know if they could.
Okay.
I don't think they'd be eligible for a full-time liquor license there.
They'd have to change their operation.
they,
Yeah, it would be a whole
they
thing.
can get licensed under a different, thing, there's a spot for them, because they're a.
So.
So what's the next step on this?
So I think if we can come back, Kasia is going to do some research for us, and it doesn't have to be, specifically Idaho Springs, but it seems like it works. Let's figure out what pieces work for us and what we would like to change. And again, if our businesses downtown don't, we can let's look at it 2 separate things though. If they want to expand their business, onto the street, let's say, or the sidewalk even, let's just say the sidewalk, that's one thing. But then let's look at it from a special event, open container, strolling down 6th Street. And all the stores who don't want someone walking in with a beverage or food can still have their same signs that say, you know, park it here. Nobody leaves, well, most people don't leave a glass or something unattended of liquor that they've purchased that somebody else is gonna pick up and, you know,
No.
drink and walk away. You leave your Coke, you leave your water
I pick up
bottles.
so many coffee things
But
and
yeah.
throw them away. If they're cold, I'll take them. If they're not.
But you know, people aren't leaving their glasses of wine and their beers and stuff like that. I just don't see that as, you know, I mean, I think we need to address it, but I don't think that's gonna be a major problem.
I hate to push this, but I
No, let's
really,
push.
I have to get, since I left home, I have to get back to the staff.
So, so this,
So I don't mean to cut you off on your.
Next meeting.
But I gotta go.
Well, I've been out of town.
Yeah, what are you gonna report on?
so nothing's happened.
Yeah, so all.
Welcome back. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. All right, so we'll carry this over to the next agenda. Before we do minutes, is there anything else for today? Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Yeah, okay.
I didn't know they had to speak, sorry.
No, I knew, I didn't see Diane up there when I was on the big screen, but I saw
She
her.
walked in, yeah.
I saw her when I came in. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for being here today.
Speak.
Yeah, I'm sorry, did I miss you during over,
No.
okay, that, yes, thank you, yeah,
You're good, you're good.
I can only see like this little segment of table, that was the other reason I was like, I'm going in.
It's so hard to hear from home.
Right, I move approval of the November BBC.
December.
Minutes,
December,
December, sorry, isn't it December still?
feels like it.
Going to do another round of Christmas.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved.
Thanks.
I'm gonna adjourn.
9:51, motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No. I know, nobody there, nobody there.
Yeah.
I would have.